Alright, let's go ahead and jump on into it. I ain't gonna hold y'all up too long, man. I know y'all been waiting for this. My apologies on the delay. My bad, y'all. Promise you, life has been lifing. It's a lot going on. But nonetheless, we are back. We are back here in the Coach's Corner. You see it, baby. It's episode number 6. Got that LeBron James, Bill Russell number. Episode 6 here in the Coach's Corner, man. Welcome back, everybody. Appreciate the viewership. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, for telling a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a neighbor, to tell a step niece, to tell anybody who has any type of electronic communication, whether it's their Fire Stick, because of course you know you can get the Coach's Corner on your Fire Stick, on your Fire TV. All you got to do is install that Konnected TV app, Konnected Konnected TV app on your Fire Stick. It's also on your Roku TV. So you can get it there. You can also catch it on YouTube, which I know a lot of you do. Haha. Peep that little freestyle straight off the dome. We're going to end 2023, right? We're going to have some fun, keep it nice and light. This is the Coach's Corner. This is your intersection of sports, special interest, and social commentary, brought to you by me, Coach Terry, 803. Make sure to follow me on all social media platforms. I'll make sure I follow you right back. What am I doing? I am leaning neither left nor right, walking straight down that middle to help you solve that riddle called life in the Coach's Corner. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about a couple different things. We're going to recap some things we talked about earlier. This is going to kind of tie everything up into a nice little bow, a knot, a present, just like you've exchanged. So make sure you stay in tune with the Coach's Corner so you can stay abreast, college word, of everything that we got going on and everything going on in the world today. It's been a great year. It's been a blessed year. I hope you feel the very same way. I know we do here up in the corner. This episode, that beat he was rocking out to, it's by my dog Ajaxxx, man. Power Man Beats, Suey Productions, man. Did a lot of work with this cat when I was a little underground MC running around doing my thing in the Southeast. Ajaxxx, Power Man Beats. Give him a follow on IG. Check him out. He got a lot of stuff on YouTube. He goes live. He makes beats right there on the NPC, right there live for you on IG. So check him out. The shirt this week, or this episode, I keep saying this week, man. It feels like I do this on a weekly basis, but it's monthly anyway. This is by I'm Livin B. Shirt and rocking by I'm Livin B. Independent clothing company from my hometown, Buffalo, New York. Founded in 2011. You can check them out. A lot of fresh gear online. And basically, you say, well, what's it all about? It's like, look, man, somebody asks you how you doing. Like, I'm living, B. You know, where I'm from, we say B. We say kid. Like, more like in New York City, they say son. We say son, too, in Buffalo, but not as much as we say, like, B or kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, what's good, kid? What's good, B? Like, so I'm living, B. Like, how you doing? I'm living, B. Make sure you living too. Check them out online. Get sweats. I got hoodies, sweatsuits, joggers for my son. He liked to wear joggers and hoodies and tees and everything that you need. You know what I'm saying? Check them out. Independent black-owned company, man, doing their thing. They make sure they get you your gear. Low prices, and they get it to you mad cheap, mad quick. All right, anyway, I'm not going to hold you. Like I said, let's jump into these topics, man. This is the Coach's Corner. Konnected TV. You here. I'm here. Let's just be here. Let's be in the moment. Live in the now. I'm living, B. That beat funky, ain't it? That'd be crazy again. Shout out to Ajaxxx, Power Man Beats. Yo, so it's second base. We're going to slide right on into second base. Head first, hands out, touching the bag, make sure we safe. I used to play a little baseball back in the day. Played middle school, actually. Like where I'm from, Like we didn't have like middle schools per se, like right here, like down here where I live in South Carolina. You go to a different school for middle school. Like, so from 5th grade, you go middle school from 6th to 8th grade. Right, where I'm from now, we just went to school from kindergarten to 8th grade. Like, you start doing different things when you got to 6th grade. Like, you start changing classes and things, but it was still in the same school that you was in before. Like, it wasn't no separate middle school per se. So anyway, middle school coach was like recruiting for the baseball team, man, and he was just asking kids in gym class one day, asked me that I want to come play. Anyway, I ended up playing middle school. I had fun with it too. I had fun with it. I was pretty good. Ended up batting second in the order. If you know anything about baseball, I was batting second, getting on base, stuff like that. I tried it when I got to high school, but the dude was throwing the ball a little bit too hard, too fast. Pause. I couldn't catch up. I went over the track, ran track 4 years of high school. Anyway, it's not about that. I just talking about sliding to second base. See how I can get off in a tangent sometimes? But this is why you tune into the corner, right? Because it's not just about sports. It's about a little bit of everything, man. It's potpourri, man. It's gumbo, mixing it up. All right, anyhow, we're going to talk about the black coach situation in the NFL. Now, if you tuned in to episode 5, which I'm sure you have, if you haven't, go ahead. After this is over, make sure you go back and watch episode 5 with Coach Chad. I was trying to get him in the corner for episode 6. Didn't quite work out that way, but we'll have him back. We'll have some more discussions on these topics. But we talked about black quarterbacks in NFL, and that leads up to this next conversation. We talk about black coaches in NFL, and you look at the state of it. And I was going to talk about black coaches just in general in football, but that's a very broad topic. I could probably do an entire show on just that topic, touching on a lot of different aspects. We're not going to do that. We can talk about just black coaches in the NFL. It's only a handful of them in the NFL right now. And the crazy thing is, it's all about opportunity, y'all. Like, I'm not saying, okay, so here, let me start off by saying this. Like, just because I'm pro-black doesn't mean I'm anti-white. Just because you're pro something doesn't mean you're anti something else. If I say I like vanilla ice cream, that doesn't mean that I hate chocolate. That just means that I like vanilla ice cream more than I like vanilla chocolate. If you offer me chocolate or vanilla, I'm going to say vanilla first. That's just what it is. Now, if you offer me strawberry and chocolate, I'm going to go chocolate. So it just depends on what my options are. All right? So let me just throw that out there. A lot of times when you say you for something, people say you against something. No, it doesn't. If I say Jordan is the greatest player of all time, that doesn't mean I think LeBron's a bum. It's not how it works. Anyway, now that we've cleared that up, I'm talking about just being given an opportunity, y'all. And it hasn't been there. I mean, let's look at, here's what they say. Black coaches don't get hired, right? First of all, you have to be an offensive coach. You got to have an offensive mindset in today's NFL. Defensive coaches, especially if you listen to Colin Cowherd, which I do. I listen to him a lot. He tends to say that you need an offensive-minded head coach in today's NFL. So say you subscribe to that theory, which I personally don't. I think coaching is coaching. If you were DC, maybe you spent years coaching offense before. Even if you didn't, you understand offenses very well in order to be able to coordinate defense. The same for offensive coaches. A lot of guys have coached on both sides of the ball and done a lot of different things before they maybe settled into a coordinator role, this and that. So that theory, I think, is debunked by that. But anyhow, I'm just a high school coach. What do I know? All right. So anyway, the thing is, you don't have black coordinators that get that same opportunity. Let's look at Byron Leftwich. Let's look at Eric Bieniemy. 2 black offensive OCs that stand out of my mind because Byron Leftwich coordinated a Super Bowl winning offense. But of course, they're going to say that was Tom Brady magic. He came there. Leftwich had nothing to do with it. Even though the year before, when Leftwich coordinated for Jameis Winston, he led the league in passing yards. He had 5,000 passing yards and threw 30 touchdowns. Yes, he threw 30 interceptions, but he had still prolific offense. Then you look at Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy led the number 1, number 2, number 3 offense. The Kansas City Chiefs. We know who they are. We know what they do. We know how prolific they are, and they have been since Eric Bieniemy was the offensive coordinator. But they say, oh well, Eric Bieniemy didn't call the plays. Andy Reid's offense. How do they look this year that Eric Bieniemy left? You can say, well, Tyreek Hill left too, coach. Tyreek Hill left the year before and they won the Super Bowl last year. What changed? Oh, that's right, Eric. Bieniemy left. He left. Their offense looks like trash now. So maybe it proves that he is or was, whatever, is a good offensive mind. But they always want to hide behind that, oh, well, he never called plays. So number one, they say you need to be an offensive mind, offensive coordinator, or quarterback's coach. But we've seen that that's not the key to getting a job because it didn't work for Leftwich or Bieniemy. Not only did it not work for both of them, now I will say this. When Bruce Arians walked away from Tampa, he did tap Todd Bowles to be the next head coach. I thought that was dope. Todd Bowles is another brother who was given a second opportunity after his failure with the Jets. But I mean, come on, who hadn't failed with the Jets? I'm going to get to that point in just a second. Back to this offensive mind thing. Okay, so then you have a coach. So let's go to Anthony Lynn, who was the coach in San Diego when they drafted Justin Herbert. Anthony Lynn was the offensive coordinator, former running back in the NFL, offensive mind, OC. He gets the job. He gets stuck with, pun intended, remember they stuck Tyrod Taylor in the rib, punctured his lung. That's not funny, but he recovered obviously just fine. And then Justin Herbert had to start that game, and the rest is history, Justin Herbert. But they fired Anthony Lynn, and they brought in, which goes exactly to my next point, they brought in Brandon Staley, who was a defensive coordinator for the Rams. Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but you just told me you had to be an offensive coach to get a head coaching job. So no, you just took the defensive coordinator from the number one defense in the league. Never mind the fact that he had Aaron Donald and Von Miller and Leonard Floyd and Jalen Ramsey, and he had all these stars across the defensive unit, and he got the job. Okay, that also doesn't work because you look at it like a guy like Urban Meyer, to us Florida Gators fans, you see them Gators up there. Urban Meyer weaseled his way out of two programs. Yes, he won wherever he went, but he was dirty and he weaseled his way out of programs. You can say, oh, this is defamation. These are things that have been proven. These are things that have been, the man got fired from his job in the Jaguars. They owed him a ton of money, and they said, no, just be up out of here, dude, because you're a bad guy. So I'm not making any judgments on his character. All I'm doing is simply going off of the facts that have been presented and have been proven to be true. Now, he was given an opportunity to coach in the NFL, no NFL experience. Brandon Staley, the kid who took over for Anthony Lynn in San Diego, who was a total disaster and was fired during the season. But he was supposed to be the next young hot guy, because why? The next young hot coach, for some reason, always seems to be the white kid. Brandon Staley was coaching Division III just like 5-6 years prior to that. He was a young guy, like under 40. No shade to that. Good for you. Like, you can rise up and build your way up, and that's cool. But all I'm saying is the black coaches don't get fast tracked. They don't get fast tracked from Division III to NFL assistant to coordinator to head coach in like 5. That doesn't happen for black coaches. Black coaches have to coach numbers of years for a number of different organizations, get up under the right head coach who maybe walks away, gets in good with the right GM. Like, it's always something that has to happen look at David Culley in Houston, right? Houston went through 3 coaches in 3 years. D'Amico Ryans, they got it right this time. Black head coach, young black coach, great job. Culley, we knew Lovie Smith was kind of a stopgap, but it still wasn't right and then Culley, the man was like in his late 60s. He just wanted to be an NFL head coach. I can't really knock him for taking the opportunity, but you knew it was a setup when you walked in through the door. And it's crazy that we have to accept these terms to even have a job, to say that we coached NFL a team before. Look at my man, Coach Wilkes. Coach Wilkes have a personal connection too, because when I was at Johnson C. Smith, Coach Wilkes was the DB coach back then. Didn't have a lot of contact with him. Because I was just a little walk-on trying to play receiver, but obviously knew who he was, and seeing him kind of rise through the ranks at HBCU and then working, getting a job at the NFL, and then eventually getting that head coaching job at the Cardinals. They drafted Josh Rosen. They drafted the wrong quarterback and blamed him. They fired him after one season. One season? What can you do in one season? I look at all these other coaches like the Joe Judges that get hired. They're given more than one season. The Matt Patricias, they'll go under a lineage like a Bill Belichick and say, well, he coached under Belichick. He's got to be great. No, he's not. Name me one coach under Belichick who's been great. Okay? I'm kind of going off on a tangent here. I wanted to bring in the conversation, but I'm having a lot of different thoughts instead of just keying off my notes. Because this is a fluid conversation that I feel like I'm having with you as you're watching it. And you're probably going back and forth with different points with me. And I'm just boom, boom, boom. I'm hitting you right back. Because the facts are the facts, man. I mean, Josh McDaniels is another example. Josh McDaniels was the OC in New England. Everybody thought he was great. Maybe Tom Brady was the great one. So he leaves. He gets a job in Denver. He drafts Tebow. That obviously didn't work. John Fox had to come in to make it work after McDaniels got fired. Remember that. So McDaniels also got fired because he was caught cheating. So he get caught cheating. He gets fired in Denver. Goes back to New England. Then the Colts, right? They have an opening. They hire him. Dude accepts the job, and then before the press conference, he weasels his way out that job. He calls him, yo, listen, I don't know. Let's see what happened was. I don't know. And he says, no, he ain't taking the job no more. So they announce it on the media and all of this stuff. And they got a press conference and say, hey, man, Josh McDaniels decided to back up the job. So he goes back to New England. Then the Raiders hire this man. I'm like, yo, it's unbelievable the chances that this man got. He went to the Raiders, who were a good quality team. He blew them up, and he was fired mid-season. So you see where I'm going with this? I know it's a lot of different places, but I'm tying it all up together to say that black coaches just are not given the same opportunities to even fail. I'm not saying everybody's going to be great. Okay, we know Tony Dungy, right? Let's talk about the successes. Tony Dungy, obviously, first black coach to win a Super Bowl. But even the way he was done in Tampa, right? He built Tampa up. Remember, Tampa was nothing. Tampa was a laughing stock of the league before he got there. He turned them around. Then they became contenders. People say, well, he couldn't never take them over the hump. Maybe all he needed was one more year. Remember, they let him go. They brought in John Gruden from the Raiders, and John Gruden took Tony Dungy's team to the Super Bowl and won that next year. Say, well, Gruden was the missing key. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. All I know is Tony Dungy went to Indianapolis, did the same thing, turned him around, revived them, won a bowl with them. So he became the first black coach to win, Super Bowl. Shout out to him, man. And then, Mike Tomlin came along after that. And there's been some successes as black coaches. Obviously, you can look at that. I don't think Leslie Frazier was really given a fair shake. The chance that he had. You can look at guys that had long standing tenures. I'm not going to edit that out. I'm going to leave that in here just so you can see how real it is in the coach's corner. I leave my bloopers in and all that. Long-standing tenures like Marvin Lewis in Cincinnati. He was given a very long leash, but that's also because Cincinnati is cheap. They don't want to hire coaches. But he turned around a team that was losers. He got them into at least the playoffs every year. He was doing his thing with that. So you've had a lot of black successful coaches. Dennis Green, shout out, rest in peace to Dennis Green. They are who we thought they were. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Dennis Green, Cardinals, Bears rant, one of the funniest rants ever by a coach. He was so frustrated after that game.
The Bears are what we thought they were. They're what we thought they were. We played them in preseason. Who the hell takes a third game in a preseason like it's bull? We played them in the third game. Everybody played three quarters. The Bears are who we thought they were. That's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook. Thanks, Coach.
But Dennis Green was a great coach in Minnesota, and even turned around the Cardinals. Shout out, rest in peace, Denny Green. Art Shell being the first black coach hired by the Raiders. Art Shell was a legendary offensive lineman with the Raiders, then was hired by Al Davis. Al Davis, shout out to rest in peace to Al Davis, man. People talk about Al Davis, but Al Davis really was a trendsetter in the fact that he hired Tom Flores, too. He was the first minority coach to win a Super Bowl. When the Raiders won the Super Bowl, Flores was the coach. I know Madden won one with the Raiders. Flores was also the coach with the Raiders, Hispanic guy. So shout out to Al Davis, man, for being a trendsetter and, being his own man, being a Maverick owner. But he hired Art Shell back then. And there's been a lot of guys, man, that kind of come and gone. I feel like when they go for these molds, they never include the black coach in that mold, the young hot name, the young hot coordinator, the guy who's making the waves, or they just never look at us the same way. It's funny, like we're good enough to play the game, but we're not good enough to lead other men. And that's how it's interpreted, whether it's meant to be or whether it's not. Look, I'm just telling you what I see, what I've experienced through my 46 years on this round ball that we call the earth. All right. So black coaches, are we given a fair chance or not? All right, we could break this down. We go to college, we go to high school, because the same thing kind of holds true in the high school ranks. I've seen it myself being a high school coach here in South Carolina for the past 7 seasons, I think. So a few different schools. Listen, man, it's an imperfect system. It's an imperfect world we live in. I'm not saying that all black coaches are going to be great, but we should at least be given a chance to suck the same way a lot of these white coaches are. Cliff Kingsbury, one last example. He was a failure at Texas Tech in college, and he was hired to replace Steve Wilkes. It's funny. He couldn't coach in college with talent, and he gets to the NFL, and you see what happened. They end up firing him. So all I'm saying is, look, man, black coaches, we are leaders, we are innovators, we are strong-willed, we can lead, man. These brothers out here can lead organizations, man. Just give them a shot. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right. We'll take a quick break. Get right back to you. All right. We back to it, baby. It is the third down, or as the young kids do when somebody hit 3, they do 3 that way. I don't know. Look crazy. I get involved in it too. I love it. Ooh. But, that's just, when I'm coaching, listen, man, you may say it's immature. You're supposed to be the grown-up out there, coach. You're supposed to be above all of that. Man, I like to get down and have fun with my players and let them understand that I'm with it just like them. And they see me having fun. Hopefully they have fun too, because I can be pretty intense on that sideline. Trust me, if you ever see me coach, you know. So let me have my fun while I'm able to have my fun. All right. So we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about season, NFL season recap, how it's been going so far. It's almost over. It's only 2 games left. But we can go back to episode 3. My boy Aiden Keefe suggested this as a topic, and I did that for him and for all the NFL heads out there like myself back in episode 3. So go back and check episode 3, see how I did. But actually, I'm going to tell you how I did, but you can still go back and check it because it's a dope episode. Interviewed a whole bunch of different coaches. We talked about the coaching business, but make sure you go back and check all the Coaches Corner episodes while you just kicking your feet up, man, drinking some eggnog, whatever you're doing. Enjoy it to the fullest because you only get one chance to live this thing. All right, so let's talk about how we did. I predicted the division winners. I'm just going to go back through my predictions back then in episode 3. That was still back in August. They hadn't even played preseason games yet. So I said Buffalo was going to win the East and the AFC. Baltimore was going to win the North. Kansas City the West. Jacksonville the South. Looking pretty good for all of those, although Trevor Lawrence just got hurt. Well, he's been hurt the last couple of weeks. I'm not sure if Jacksonville can hold off on that one. Houston looking pretty strong. C.J. Stroud has been a lot better than anybody imagined. Kansas City looking a little weak, but they should still win the West. Baltimore, obviously, number 1 seed in the AFC. And in the Bills, we struggling right now, but win the last 2 games, beat the Dolphins. Last week of the season, we'll still win the East. So looking pretty good in the AFC. NFC, I said Philadelphia, Minnesota, Carolina, and the 49ers. Philly's still going to win the East in the NFC. I know them in Dallas, been going back and forth, but Philly will still hang on to win that. Minnesota, I didn't count on Kirk Cousins getting hurt. That's the caveat with Minnesota. Detroit, I knew Detroit was going to be good, but I thought Minnesota would be a little bit better. Again, I didn't see Kirk Cousins getting hurt. Minnesota still has a chance, though. Carolina, obviously, I was just dead wrong. That one. Yeah, fill in the blank. Dead wrong on that one. I anticipated Frank Reich would be a little bit better coaching Bryce Young. I didn't realize they just absolutely were just a disaster on offense this year. Frank Reich ended up losing his job. I can't say it's totally his fault. I think the new owner's a little impetuous, not understanding how things work in the NFL. It's not a plug and play. It's not fantasy football. But, yeah, so I was wrong about Carolina. And the 49ers, obviously, best team in the NFC, still holding on to that one. Wild card teams. Wild card, I had Miami, the Jets, and the Bengals in the AFC wild card. So Miami, Buffalo, either way, one of them would be the division winner wild card. So I'm pretty good there. The Jets, again, who knew Aaron Rodgers would get hurt on the fourth freaking play of the season? Right? Like, nobody saw that coming. So you got to give me a pass on that, Aaron Rodgers. If I had known that, I definitely wouldn't have picked the Jets. I would have picked the Browns. But if you go back to episode 3, I said that, though. I said that the Browns or be my sleeper team. Browns or Steelers would be the sleeper for that 7th seed. And then the Bengals didn't anticipate Joe Burrow getting hurt. So, again, with 3 of my 7 AFC picks, the Bengals, Jets, and Jags, I didn't see their quarterback getting hurt. Now, Trevor Lawrence hasn't missed any games, true. But the last few weeks, I mean, he's probably still playing with a concussion. You know, all jokes aside. NFC wildcard teams, I had Dallas, Detroit, and New Orleans. Making it still looking pretty good for that. Obviously, Carolina's not going to win the division. That's going to be either Tampa or New Orleans. Then the other one will probably make. But I don't know. The Rams are making a good push lately. Everybody got healthy for the Rams at the right time. They're playing some good ball. So Dallas, Philly, obviously one is going to win the division. One's going to be the wild card, so I'm good there. Detroit has won the division already, but I think Minnesota can take that wild card. So that would still make me right on those two making it. And then I said the Saints. I forgot Dennis Allen might be the worst coach in the history of the NFL. And that goes back to my last segment on black coaches. Dennis Allen was horrible when he coached the Raiders. Dennis Allen was given another chance despite a terrible record and a terrible rapport with his players. But he's given another chance. A lot of times when black coaches get hired and they do bad at one spot, they're not given another chance. And that's just not right. You can keep rehiring and retrade these same terrible white coaches like Dennis Allen. He's the reason. The Saints have a great defense. They have weapons on offense. Derek Carr is mediocre, but he's good enough. I mean, come on, with Kamara, Jamal Williams in the backfield, Taysom Hill, the X Factor, Chris Olave, Michael Thomas outside the receiver. They got the other speedy kid, Shaheed. Like, they got weapons, man. So it's his fault they're not winning. So I'm blaming Dennis Allen. I'm blaming myself for even thinking that he was competent enough to lead a team into the playoffs. But they might stumble into the playoffs because the division is just that dog crap terrible. But we're not going to spend time talking about a bad division or anything like that. Those are all the wild card picks. Now, for the AFC, I said the championship game was going to be the Bills and the Chiefs. Bills, maybe. We get in, we still dangerous. I don't care what you say. It's a one-game scenario. The playoffs is not about what happened during the season. All it takes is one team to get hot. I know Josh likes to give the ball to the other team, and I said that would be our downfall this year. We didn't make noise. It's the turnovers and lack of running game. Most of the season, what has it been? Josh giving the football to the other team and us not being able to run the ball effectively. James Cook seemed to have turned the corner lately, and we might be okay. Buffalo, Kansas City, I doubt that highly. If I had to redo, if I'm allowed to give it a redo, I actually say the Ravens would probably ended up meeting up with either the Dolphins or the Bills in the AFC Championship game. I still think the Bills, if we make it, we're dangerous. But I'm sticking with my Buffalo pick to come out the AFC. I'm not folding on that. If we make it, we going. That's that. All right. NFC, I have Philly, Dallas meeting in the championship game. I think San Francisco's going to knock one of these two teams off, especially now that Dallas has to go on the road the whole time because of that loss to the Dolphins. Obviously, the Bills, when we kick, they get up out of here. Get up out of there. Came to Buffalo. They had a terrible visit. Hope they got to see Niagara Falls while they was there. Go to Lenovo's and get some wings. Go to Bocce's Club, get you some pizza, all that stuff. But that time you spent at the stadium. Anywho, Philly Dallas. So I believe it's actually going to be San Fran and Philly in the championship game, and I have Philly going, but too many deficiencies this year. I don't see them turning it around. Jalen Hurts also likes to give the ball to the other team, and I think that's going to hurt him. So I actually have Buffalo and the 49ers in my revised Super Bowl pick, and I have Buffalo winning it still. I know, Coach is crazy. You said, but listen, I wrote out all my picks to start the season. I had the Bills going 11-6. I wrote this down when I was on Dr. Dunbar's podcast. Shout out to Big 76 Discussion Sports. I said 11-6. We still gonna finish 11-6. Ain't nothing changed. It may not look the way I thought it was gonna look, but it doesn't matter, baby. As long as we get that prize in the end, you hold up that trophy. That's all that matters. So we're gonna call that a recap of the 2023 NFL season. Once it's all said and done, go ahead. Once the Super Bowl is played in February, that should be episode 8. We'll take a look at how it all shaked out, however you want to say. I don't know. It don't really matter, man. This ain't no ELA podcast. I don't teach ELA. I teach social studies. I teach you about the world, Craig. So however this thing shakes out, we're going to take a look back at it at episode 8, see how we did. Again, shout out to my boy Aiden Keefe back at episode 3 for suggesting this topic. And Aiden Keefe, man, wow, kid, first year on varsity as a sophomore, ended up making all region as a running back. So yeah, I know how we get, man. Again, man, I got love for that dude, man. We've been training, man. His dad used to bring him in my backyard when he was like 4 or 5 years old, and he would train out there with other kids in the neighborhood and my son, and we'd be getting it in ever since then, man. I love watching that kid grow. So again, man, big shout out to you and the whole Keith family. Shout out to you for watching this, hanging in there with me. We have one more topic we're going to talk about, and we're going to put a wrap on this thing for 2023. Hang in there with me. Stay tuned. Be right back. Now I got to take a sip. Soul beats right here. It's that boom bap era, man. Again, shout out to Ajaxxx Power Man Beats for supplying these instrumentals for me for this episode, man. It's my dog. Show me crazy love over the years, man. I'm just trying to show him just a smidgen of the love he's shown me, man. That's how we do, man. One hand washing the other. That's how we get down. If you go just going ahead, you know what these symbols mean, but I'm breaking them down for the newcomers to the viewership, you know what I mean? So it's goes back to episode 1. I was like old men, like they always, every time they drink something, to take a sip, they always got to make a noise. I'm like, that's it right there, Jack. Oh yeah, boy, that's that good stuff right there, boy. So that's just an inside joke between me and the viewers, but hopefully if you're new, you'll catch on, you'll get it, you'll see why I do that. All right, so we're gonna talk about this fourth quarter, right? It's fourth quarter, that means we're about to wrap this thing up. We're gonna go over something that I premiered in episode 4, coincidentally, and it's the sports misconceptions. See, I watch a lot of sports talk TV, you know, the ESPN, the FS1 shows. I ain't gonna name them by name, but you already know what I'm talking about. The personalities on there, the talking heads, and a lot of times they say things that are media-driven narratives, and I hate using that word narratives. I just do, because it's one of those words that people hear it and they just run with it and they use it and they use it and they make you sick of it. It's like that same song they play on the radio over and over again till they make you want to puke. Well, that's how I feel about the word narrative and a lot of the things that I hear over and over again, and it's like, yo, it doesn't even make sense. Like, did anybody even bother to stop and think? Like the emoji. Does this even make sense? Or are we just saying it's because we heard somebody else say it? We're just going to keep regurgitating the same foolishness show after show after show. Anywho, That's why you have me, the coach, in my corner, leaning neither left nor right, walking straight down that middle to help you solve this riddle called life. And it's a riddle that I'm going to tackle first about analytics. Okay, analytics. Now, it's weird. Let me tell you my background. I'm a former financial guy, right? My undergraduate degree is actually in accounting and internal auditing. And I did that for a while. Worked in numbers, worked in 401k management, and all kind of different number-related capacities throughout my career before I became a teacher. And so you would think I'm a numbers guy, and I am a numbers guy. I keep statistics on every team that I coach. Always keep statistics. One of the valuable things I think I bring as an assistant coach to any staff is I'm a numbers-driven guy when it comes to certain things. But unlike the great show that I used to watch with Jalen Rose, who was it? Jalen Rose. Gosh, I think of Michael Smith. Numbers Never Lie on ESPN. I used to watch. Let's love that show. But numbers do lie because numbers can be manipulated. Right? Jay-Z, I don't care what Jay-Z say. He say men lie, numbers lie. No, he say men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Well, that's true and it's not. Numbers don't lie because they can only give you the result of their products, right? They can only give you the product of what's being input. So numbers don't lie in that aspect. But numbers can be manipulated to back up whatever side you're on in an argument, right? So here's the thing, analytics. You get all of these guys now who lean so heavy into analytics and it may be an old stereotype, say, coach, that's not right. But I always think about the little pocket protector with all the pins in it, the thick glasses with the tape in the middle. Like, you pocket protector nerds didn't play the game, man. Like, you don't understand. Like, so my thing with numbers is that you're assuming that everything can be duplicated and I would say replicated the exact same way. Like, when you call sports a product, I hate that. It's not a product. Because with a product, like, you can regulate a product. Like, you can expect the same outcome time after time. For instance, with this bottle of water, right? You buy this bottle. Now, I'll put one of them flavor packets in it so it looks like lemonade. Tastes like lemonade, but it's just water. It's just water. This is just cucumber water. Y'all. That's all I'm drinking. Cucumber water. But it's like this water. Like, you can expect 24 of these in a package to look and taste the exact same way, right? That's a product. That is something that can be manufactured and controlled. We're talking about players, living, breathing human beings who are each individual in their own nature as persons, as people, as Homo sapiens. So how can you expect their performance to be the exact same night in and night out? Especially an NBA player where they have 82 games and they're playing 2-3 games a week sometimes, right? Their product, their output is not going to be the same because they're people. Because maybe the one guy didn't get a lot of sleep that night. Maybe he woke up in the middle of the night, stubbed his toe on the way to the bathroom. Now his foot is hurting. Like, maybe he woke up with a toothache. Maybe the guy got to an argument with his wife on the way to the arena, and now he's all pissed off. Like, there's a lot of factors that go into why people's performances fluctuate up and down. Maybe it's the pressure of the situation. Maybe sometimes the guy gets on the free throw line and he thinks back to a situation where he choked. And that affects him at the line. Maybe a kicker's out there to make the big kick. And he thinks about a time where he won the game back in high school with a kick. And he comes out of nail. Like, there's a lot of different things that factor in. And that's why I don't think you can just rely on analytics. One of the biggest things I hate when they talk about analytics is going forward on fourth down. I'm going to go to football specifically. Going forward on fourth down, right? It's not always a bad thing because you do have technically 4 downs to get a first down. We just become so accustomed to punting on fourth down because a lot of times that is the safe, that's the smart play to make. And as a coach, if you want to keep your job, you're going to make the safe, you're going to make the smart play. You're going to punt the ball away. You're going to play the field position game, trust your defense, all that jazz, right? So a lot of times that's why you end up punting on fourth down because it is the safest, the smartest, the prudent decision to make for your football team. Okay, going forward sometimes puts you in bad situations. If it's fourth and too many yards to get, if it's fourth in a bad situation. Like, I've been a defensive coach for a number of years. And there have been several times where you look at the offensive coordinator like, bro, like, do you not see where we are on the field? Like, why are you going for it here? Because if you don't get it, now the defense is in a bad situation. You're only defending 30, 35 yards, 40 yards of field, maybe. Whatever the situation is, less than half the field is never ideal for a defense. So now you're putting us in that bad situation. So the team goes on to score. It flips momentum. It changes ties. It makes play calling, all these types of things different. Okay, so sometimes I just think that it's too many. Just go for it. It's 4-2. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. Forget where we are on the field. Forget how our offensive line is playing. Forget how their D-line is playing. Because sometimes the terms of the game should dictate what you do. And I think that feel for the game is lost, and we just looking at numbers. For instance, I watched a coach the other day going for it for 2 early in the game, chasing 2 points because they missed the extra point earlier. Because the analytics say this is the spot to go for 2. I'm like, yeah, but the people who came up with these numbers have probably never strapped on a helmet in their lives. Hello? In what other industry do we listen to people who've never done it? Because the numbers say that this should... Well, guess what, Poindexter? You don't play football with a calculator. All right? No one's out there with a protractor and a ruler and an abacus out there trying to determine the wind velocity and all. Listen, bro, that's not how a game of football is played. You don't play the game of football behind a computer and a desk. You just don't. You don't, bro. Like, it's all kinds of factors that go into these situations, and I think that more needs to be placed on the emphasis on coaching, the feel and your knowledge of the game over some numbers. Can they factor into some situations and help you make decisions? Certainly they can. But again, if you're already leaning one way, all you're going to do is look for the numbers to support that. If the numbers say you should, then you're going to say, oh, well, I'm not trusting the numbers. If the numbers say you should and they lean into what you're already thinking, then of course you're going to say, oh, well, yeah, great. See, the analytics back me up. I just say, listen, man, people were coaching and winning and doing a lot of great things in football for years and years. And I'm not one of them old dinosaurs to say, well, it's always been done like that. We can't do it any other way. I'm all about advancement. I'm all about advancing the game. I'm all about learning. I'm all about innovation and moving the game forward. And I get that. I just think the reliance on analytics has gotten a little too crazy, and coaches just don't trust their instincts anymore. And I'm like, well, what are they paying you for? If not, they can just spit numbers out of a computer and let that computer coach. That's exactly what you want. You keep trusting these numbers. You want to have a computer sitting there with a tie on and some glasses, and the computer's going to be spitting out numbers, telling you what optimal lineups to play at what point in time in the game, man. So just trust your gut, coaches, man. That's the reason why they have us on them sidelines. Let's just roll right into it. Load management. One of them analytics-driven thing. Load management is not, first of all, the whole thing is just blown out of proportion. And it's a huge misconception in itself, that term, load management. People say, well, it started with Greg Popovich and the Spurs, that famous time where he sent Duncan and Parker and Ginobili home on a plane. It was a nationally televised game, and everybody was upset. Number one, he did that kind of like a FU to the league and to David Stern, because Pop is just Pop. Like, that's just who he is. He's like Al Davis, we talked about in the coaching segment. Pop kind of does his own thing, walks to the beat of his own drum. Salute to him, shout out to him for that. We need guys like Pop. But Pop did that because those guys were older. I think it was like the third game in 5 nights or something like that. So it was a situation where it made sense to do that. But Pop was doing that with his older guys who had been through championship runs and deep playoff runs for like 10, 12 years. So he did that when Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili were older. Like, he wasn't doing that when they were young and fresh. He was playing those guys as many games, as many minutes as he could. I mean, so to use that as like the springboard for all this load management is crap. Now you can say, well, it furthered with Kawhi, but Kawhi kind of did his own load management thing, and that's why him and Pop was like, no, if you can play, get up out there and play, homeboy. The man had a thigh bruise and was out 70 games. Like, well, are you serious? So that's why he had to dip, because Pop wasn't with that load management. Pop was like, if you can play, play. So again, go back to the springboard, to the genesis, to the origin, to the jump off, to the springboard of this whole thing. The Spurs did it because their players were older, had played a lot of games and minutes. You got young guys doing it now, talking about, I need to be fresh for the playoffs, or, this is a back-to-back. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't your job to play basketball? We don't ask, this ain't back in the day where you got to work another job in the off season. You don't do anything else but play basketball. Train, play basketball. That's all you do. So what do you mean it's a back-to-back? You can't play 2 games in a row? Oh, woe is me. Hey, you kids play 3-4 games in a day sometimes, man. You mean to tell me as a grown man who trains and does nothing else but play basketball for his job? I think about that, dude. Like, this is a kid's game. You play this as a career, as a job. You pay millions of dollars to play basketball. You can't play the second night of a back-to-back. And I'm not talking about guys. Again, I'm not talking about the older guys, the LeBrons and the KDs and the Stephs and the guys who've logged, years and years of playoff. Because one thing you don't understand too is playoff minutes are different. Playoff minutes hit different. So when you're making deep playoff runs, 8, 10, 12, 14 years, that's adding extra years of NBA games and NBA regular seasons on your body. You figure just the average title run, right? You need to win 16 games to win the title because it's 4 rounds. You got to win 4 games, right? So you need to win 16 games. So say you're playing easily 25 games, right? So you're playing 25 games, 1 postseason, 3 postseasons. That's basically a whole other NBA season. So now you keep doing that math, and I understand why some of these guys, you playing 3 games in 5 nights, certain nights of a back-to-back. I get that. I'm talking about the young guys, the guys who don't have the injury histories or the deep playoff runs or logged all those minutes, bro. If you get out there and play, you should be playing. Like, this excuse to, it's the 3rd game in 5 nights, 3rd game in 4 nights, man. Listen, you guys are in 5-star hotels, wherever you go. You got the nice big chartered flights for you. This ain't the 80s, man, and the 90s where the guys was on commercial flights with the regular people. I mean, sometimes they had, don't get me wrong, like they'd be in the business class section, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, they still on the regular flights with the regular people. Like, the travel is so much different now, so much more luxurious. It's so much more convenient. Like, you don't have all these excuses and things anymore, man. Like, there's no reason why you're not fully activated and ready to go. And to me, like, that's just more of a reflection of our society as a whole, man. We just expect less and less from people, from these younger generations, and it's getting worse. And we got to raise that bar. That's all I'm saying. But the load management thing, okay? Less opinion, more facts. It doesn't work because who's the poster boy for load management? Kawhi Leonard. What's Kawhi Leonard's biggest problem? He never plays. So if we're resting him, why are we resting him and he's still not playing? Joel Embiid was the poster boy for load management. He was always hurt. He's still always getting hurt. Ben Simmons, because guys, girls, aliens, dogs, whoever's watching this can understand the words coming out of my mouth. In order to be good at something, you have to do it. I know, right? It's a revelation. Ooh, shocking. Woo! Somebody go send this clip to the press. But in order to do something and to be good at something, you have to continually do it. And in order to be good at basketball and stay in basketball shape, you have to play basketball. I don't know why they think, if he sits out a game, he's going to be fresh for the next game. Maybe to a degree. But the more you sit out, the more you lose. Especially when you're like a prime athlete in your peak, condition, peak physical condition. There's just no reason with the nutrition that these guys have. A lot of these guys have their own chefs, nutritionists, these teams of people, these entourages of people that are around you all the time, advising you this and that, man. So why can't you get the proper rest and nutrition, things like that, so you can play? And I know it's not everybody. It's a lot of young guys who do play as much as they can, and they fight to get up there in that court, man. And shout out to them, man. That's old school. Because I look at MJ, and I had it written down, and my bad, I lost the piece of paper that I had it on. But MJ played something like 75 games or more, like 13 years out of his career, which is insane. I mean, he hurt his foot. I think that was his 2nd or his 3rd year in the league. He didn't play. But outside of that, man, and the comeback when he came back, played like that second half of the year, Jordan was out there playing, man. Now, again, maybe it's not fair to hold everybody to the GOAT standard, but even LeBron plays. Like, he sits out now because he's 87 years old. You know what I'm saying? But LeBron went to high school with Joe Biden. But, you know, he plays. And I love guys who want to play ball because that's your job, man. That's all that you're asked to do is play ball. Practices maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, barely practicing. Then the rest of the day is yours to do whatever you want. And then you play a game, you travel, and then that's it. So I don't think it's a big deal asking you to do your job every day when you have people like, and yes, I'm going to get on my pedestal and I'm going to say it. People like police officers, firemen, EMTs, doctors, nurses, teachers. Yeah, people like that where we're expected to be there and show up day in and day out, day in and day out. You have to be there for those patients, for those kids, for whoever. And in your case, all you have to do is be there for the fans, basically, and for yourself, and your teammates and coaches. So I don't understand why it's so hard for you to go out there and play basketball on back-to-back nights. I'm expected to go out there and teach 5 days a week. So if I can do that in room for the middle schoolers, then you certainly can go out there and play basketball on back-to-back nights. Stop load management. This sucks. It sucks for the kids who pay to come and watch you. It sucks for all of us as NBA fans because we're getting cheated. You're not getting to see the best talent on the floor every day. All right, but this has been our topic on sports misconceptions. The second time we're doing this one. So we're going to tackle 2 topics every time. You can go back to episode 4 and check out the first 2 topics. We talked about big men not being needed in the NBA and running backs losing their value. And then this time we talked about analytics hurting the game and load management being a big bugaboo in the NBA. All right, hang around, baby. We're going to wrap this thing on up. All right. So we're not going to do a sports hero spotlight this time. Only because so many athletes doing so many great things. And really, it's just in the interest of time. My segments went a little bit long as I was looking at doing some editing. So I want to try to keep the whole pod show under about an hour. So we're not going to do a sports hero spotlight this time, but I promise you, episode 7, January 2024, I'm going to bring that back. Maybe even spotlight 2 athletes because we skipped out this month. All I want to say is, man, 2023 has been unbelievable. A lot of things going down for the coach, man. Coaching track in my middle school. First year doing that, had a blast. Still with the AAU thing with my commandos. Coached at 2 different high schools this year. I'm having a blast still coaching high school football. Coaching my middle school basketball team now. That's what's been keeping me so busy. I haven't had time to do the pod like that. But shout out to the Saints. All the guys out there, we working, man. We'll be back. We decent little scrappy team. Let you know how that work out. Whew. No days off for the coach, man. We still got the PA thing, doing that for Allen University. Still going to keep bringing you this fresh content, man, on a monthly basis here in the Coach's Corner. Shout out to Kevin Glover, the CEO of the Konnected, man, for giving me this opportunity. I can't believe it. 6 episodes in, baby. 6 in. Whew. Started this in June. Just from an idea on my notepad. Bringing this to you. Thank you for telling everybody. Please, go ahead and like the video. Like the video. Share the video. Comment on the video. Subscribe to the page. Install that Konnected TV app on your Fire Stick. On your Roku. Konnected TV app. Install that. Take it with you wherever you go. Coach's Corner. Your intersection of sports, special interest, and social commentary. Leaning neither left nor right. Walking straight down the middle. To help you solve this riddle called life. It's the Coach's Corner. We're going to be back in 2024. Bigger and better. Guest features. Interviews. Whole bunch of things already in the works, man. Trying to make this thing bigger and better. If you like it, tell me why you like it. If you hate it, tell me why you hate it so I can upgrade it. Please rate it. All right. Shout out to Ajaxxx. Again, Power Man Beats for supplying the instrumentals this episode. Shout out to I'm Livin B. Dope t-shirt. We got hoodies. I got sweatsuits. Supporting them, man. Black independent business from my hometown of Buffalo, New York. Hit them up online, IG, all of that. Cop the fresh gear. They get it to you mad quick. This episode, I decided to go with the McGrady behind me. McGrady was one of my favorite players when he was in the league. Very exciting player, man. Straight out of high school, Mount Zion. High school in Raleigh, North Carolina. Man, oh man. That kid was electric, man. He was very underrated because he didn't win a lot. But the numbers he put up and the highlights he created were, some of the top ones that you can think of, especially during that era. Listen, man, it's Coach Terry. Make sure you follow me on all my socials. I'll make sure I follow you back. Okay? Let me know how I can make this thing better. Let me know what you want me to talk about. We're going to be doing a lot of interesting things in 2024, man. I promise you, man. Just stay with me. We right here. Keep it locked. Coach's Korner on Konnected TV. Hit me up on my email, too. Almost forgot about that. KKONKTV@gmail.com. One more time. KKONKTV@gmail.com. Show topic ideas. Beats. Gear. Hats. Whatever you want to send me to support and promo it, I'll do that. I'll make sure I do that. Send it to me, and I got you. I got you. You got me. We got each other. That's how this thing works, man. All right, signing off for the last time in 2023. Coach Terry, y'all be good. Salute.